I sometimes see people saying that I wish Japanese was just hiragana. It would have been so much easier. But if that was true, it would be tragic. It is something that Japanese people use with their senses, and it's not often talked about because it's very difficult to explain. Minasan konnichiwa, and welcome to Let's Ask Shogo, the biggest obstacle that every student studying Japanese will face. The 3 Japanese characters, right? Even we Japanese study kanji throughout the 9 years of compulsory education, and we still sometimes misuse them. How did Japan end up using 3 characters? So today, I'll talk about the history of Japanese characters. I'll then explain how the 3 characters are each used today. Finally, I will share the images the 3 types of characters hold and the usages that no one hardly talks about. By watching this video, I hope you'll be able to enjoy studying Japanese even more. If there's anything else you'd like to learn more about the Japanese language after watching this video, please let me know your opinions in the comments. In this channel, you can take a closer look at Japanese traditional culture, tips on traveling to Kyoto, and social problems in Japan. So learners and lovers of Japanese language and culture, be sure to subscribe to enjoy more content. それでは本日も3つの文字の謎を解いてまいりましょう。First of all, let's talk about the history of the 3 Japanese characters. 1. Kanji was brought from China. 2. Hiragana was created for casual writing. 3. Katakana was created for reading sutras. The first character that was used in Japan was, surprisingly, kanji, the most difficult of the 3. To begin with, the word kanji means the letters of kan, or in other words, the characters used in the Han Dynasty of China. The origin of kanji is said to have been the oracle bone script created in China in 1300 BC. It is an ancient script literally made by imitating the shapes of people, animals, and objects. These are some of the more well-known ones. Kanji were repeatedly improved to make them easier to use, and by the 6th to 10th century, the standard style of writing called kaisho was completed, which we still use today. The time when kanji was introduced to Japan was around the 4th to 5th century. Until then, Japan did not have any letters, and everything was passed down orally. The Japanese not only used kanji as they were, but also eventually created their own hiragana characters to denote the sounds of the Japanese language. In other words, in order to literalize their own language, they borrowed characters from another country. The oldest existing Japanese anthology of poetry, Manyoshu, was compiled using this character. This is why it was named hiragana, or in other words, the letters used in Manyoshu. So it is estimated that hiragana was probably established around the 7th century when Manyoshu was compiled. Hiragana was indeed a useful invention. However, because a single sound was applied to a number of kanji characters, there were many varieties, and some of them were difficult to write because of their complicated shapes. Thus, the unique hiragana and katakana were created in the early Heian period as simpler characters. Since that time, however, the 2 characters have been used differently. First, hiragana was created by simplifying or breaking down kanji like this. While kanji were the characters used in official situations, hiragana came to be used for more casual writing, such as letters, waka poems, and essays. Also, because of their social status at that time, women were not allowed to use kanji characters, but they could use hiragana. This led to the creation of many great works of literature by women, such as Makura no Soshi and The Tale of Genji. Next, while hiragana was created by breaking down kanji characters, katakana was created by taking parts of kanji characters, like this. Katakana was created by Buddhist monks for them to make it easier to read sutras. Buddhist scriptures were all written in Chinese characters, so it was sometimes difficult for the monks to read them in a glance. This is where the simple katakana characters were born as a way to note the readings besides it. So, to make long story short, hiragana was born among the nobles for casual writing, and katakana was born for Buddhist monks to easily read sutras. But today, all characters can be used equally by everyone. So you've understood how the characters were used in the past, but today they're used in a completely different way. Today, kanji are used to represent the substantive parts of words and phrases, while hiragana was used to represent the supporting parts of kanji, such as postpositional particles and adverbs. Katakana are mainly used to represent foreign words, but it can also be used to express slang or cant, animal and plant names, and onomatopoeia and mimetic words. However, there are words that are written in any of the three characters, so it is impossible to say in general. I sometimes see people saying that I wish Japanese was just hiragana. It would have been so much easier, but if that was true, it would be tragic. For example, a sentence like this would be horrifying. It's because it is not clear whether the ha are a part of a noun, or a postpositional particle, or an adverb. Also, hana could mean flower, but it can also mean nose. So just by seeing the hiragana, we cannot decipher which noun is trying to express. Haha means mother and hana means flower. So it's much easier to quickly understand the sentence by using kanji characters. What I've explained so far, I'm sure many of you have already heard of somewhere. So lastly, let me talk a little bit about the image that each character holds. There is no specific rule here, but it is something that Japanese people use with their senses, and it's not often talked about because it's very difficult to explain. But I think it's something useful to know in written communication with Japanese people. 1. The image of kanji. It gives the reader the impression of being formal and serious. The text can appear to be sincere and credible only by being written in kanji. Sentences written entirely in hiragana and katakana may appear a bit childish. On the flip side, however, too many kanji can have the negative effect of making a text too rigid and uninteresting to read. Just because you can convert characters when you type in words does not mean that you should convert everything into kanji. It is said that a good reading balance is about 30% kanji and 70% hiragana and katakana throughout the text. 2. The image of hiragana. Hiragana is easy to read, and it conveys familiarity and kindness to the reader. Hiragana can reduce the sense of distance between those who want to convey information and those who want to receive it. Some female names are written in hiragana without using any kanji, but this is to express a natural soft atmosphere just by using hiragana. 3. The image of katakana. By deliberately using katakana for words other than foreign words that absolutely must be expressed in katakana, the word can be emphasized. The reader will think about the importance of the word and the writer's intention behind it. Also, words that can be expressed either in Japanese or foreign languages, such as karire and ron, yaruki and motivation, can be changed to a more formal image when written in kanji, and a more casual image by using katakana. However, this classification of use is only an image, and ultimately the only way to gain experience is to actually read and write text. Then lastly, today's conclusion. The first character that was used in Japan was kanji, that was imported from China in the 4th to 5th century. The Japanese not only used kanji as they were, but also created their own manyogana characters around the 7th century to denote the sounds of the Japanese language. Hiragana and katakana were invented to simplify the complicated kanji characters. Hiragana was born for nobles to use in casual occasions, such as letters, waka poems, and essays, whereas katakana was born for monks to make it easier to read sutras written in difficult kanji. Today, anyone can use these three characters. Kanji are used to represent the substantive parts of words and phrases. Hiragana are used to represent the supporting parts of kanji, and katakana are mainly used to represent foreign words. Kanji gives the reader the impression of being formal and serious, while hiragana is easy to read and conveys familiarity and kindness to the reader. By deliberately using katakana for words other than foreign words that absolutely must be expressed in katakana, the word can be emphasized. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If this video helped you to deepen your understanding towards the Japanese language, please hit the like button to help me boost this video to more people. And our goal is to achieve 2 million subscribers by January 2023, so your help would mean a lot. And please check out our sub-channel and membership through the link inside the description box. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next video. 皆さんどうもありがとうございました。So for those of you who have listened to this video this far, I want to let you guys know about a future plan that I haven't been able to talk about a little too much in other videos and such. I actually, for a long time, I've been receiving DMs and questions in the comments and such about questions about the Japanese language itself. And to be honest, I've always been rejecting, what should I say, making videos about Japanese or teaching about Japanese because Japanese instructor, or in Japanese it's called Nihongo Kyoshi, is actually a national qualification, and you do need to study a certain amount of time at a designated school in each prefecture, and you have to take an exam to get the qualification. Yep. So basically, not everyone is supposed to be allowed to teach Japanese. Yeah, so there is actually an official person who can do that. So for a long time, I've been saying that I'm not qualified for it. But then, come to think of it, why can't I just get that qualification right? And I was actually searching some schools where I can do the studying to be qualified to take the test for the Nihongo Kyoshi, the Japanese instructor. Actually found some schools in Kyoto where I live. So this is something I'll probably be talking about more maybe in my sub-channel or maybe in the future in my main channel too, but I'm really looking forward to studying to become a Japanese instructor. So in the future, I might be able to make more content related to the Japanese language or maybe even teaching Japanese itself. So I really hope you can look forward to it. There's a lot of questions I'm not able to answer yet right now because I don't have enough knowledge about teaching Japanese, but in the future I will be able to, so I'm really, really excited about it.